So a couple of days ago, Netflix did what Netflix does best, which is alienate the target audience, this time in reference to the source material and how they decided to market Castlevania Nocturne. And yeah, I wasn't going to cover this because I'd already talked about Castlevania Nocturne and my thoughts on how the marketing was being handled on my live stream on Monday, but I saw some excellent coverage about the situation from my boy Dread Roberts, which, by the way, if you haven't thrown him a subscription on YouTube, go for it. The man's a gem. But I watched his coverage as I let another controversy about the show unfolded the next day. I was like, man, great job. You did great covering this. And even better, it means I don't have to. But then he said something to me in the comments that, frankly, the man was correct about. He's like, nah, Leon, you gotta cover this, because more people talking about it, the better. And honestly, he is right. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and maybe you're familiar with the Castlevania Nocturne controversy that has to do with the director. Maybe you're not. Maybe you just want to hear my unique point of view on it. Either way, let's go ahead and get into this article, shall we? Netflix Castlevania director distances self from inflammatory marketing. And yeah, by the way, this is the animation quality, and it looks good in a still. It does not look good in the actual execution of the animation. It just has nothing to do with the article. Just want to throw it out there for anyone that might be considering watching this. Not nearly as crisp and well animated as its predecessors. The director for Castlevania Nocturne has distanced himself from an inflammatory tweet from the show's official account. The tweet in question highlighted one character badmouthing Richter Belmont of the same Belmont family that basically defines the Castlevania franchise. Not basically, does define the Castlevania franchise. Like when you think of Castlevania, who do you think of besides, mostly Simon Belmont and of course Dracula? Like that's it. The Belmont family tree is the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure of vampire hunting. Except for the fact that the JoJo's are also vampire. You know what? It sounded better in the moment. But if JoJo fans, you know what I'm talking about. This tweet has since been deleted, but you can see it below. And yes, Netflix did go back and delete this tweet, which was hilarious because I remember seeing this tweet like when it was still fresh, and they were getting roasted, absolutely savaged. You would think after their success with One Piece that they would have known, oh, if we give the fans what they want, if we honor the source material, then they will go, they'll subscribe to us, they'll pay us money, they'll keep watching our product. Now, granted, the show completely disrespects the source material, but you would think Netflix would have learned, at least a lesson in marketing based on how One Piece was handled. No. One Piece was definitely that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Netflix has learned nothing. No matter what the timeline, the Belmonts stay getting humbled by their magic companions. And then we have Annette here, by the way, a race-swapped character. The Belmont boy turned out to be useless as fuck. Well, thank you, race-swapped character that nobody cares about, because you're completely and fundamentally altered from the source material for, let's be honest, tokenism. So glad that you've got such a high opinion of our hero, the people that, the fans actually want to follow, the main character. However, some fans understandably interpreted this tweet as an attack on not only the source material for the show, but also the fans of the franchise, and as they should have interpreted it as such, because that's exactly what it was. In response, Castlevania director Samuel Deets distanced himself from the inflammatory marketing. Man, not to vague tweet, but I work too damn much to have to add keep an eye on marketing so they don't misrepresent our show to my grossly oversized to-do list. Now here's where I'm going to have a different opinion. Usually I'd be like, yes, the director taking the side of the fans, the showrunner taking the side of the fans. No. The director did this himself. This was his, this came from the director. These lines were written in the show that he directed. The complete departure from the source material, the trashing of the fan favorite characters, all came from this director. So why is he disavowing it? Why is he distancing himself from it? Because this was his show. Netflix was only putting on display what he created. So I don't understand in the slightest why he's trying to step back and be like, hey, this is all on Netflix, not me. If that was the case, why did you put this in your show? Why did you tokenize fan favorite characters? Why did you bastardize other fan favorite characters? Why'd you put a bunch of useless cursing in a TV show that's, based on an IP that usually speaks with Shakespearean eloquence? So yeah, him sitting here and trying to distance himself and put all the blame on Netflix is completely disingenuous, and homeboy should not get any pass whatsoever because he's the one that did this. The director was far from the first person to take issue with the tweet's message, and fans quickly began criticizing Netflix while also airing their grievances about the show's latest season. Only watched the first 2 seasons of Castlevania and never bothered after that. Probably for the best. I can tell you, Oliver, absolutely for the best. And I'm gonna say it, might upset a lot of you, but first Castlevania series, Also pretty overrated, not that great, and people need to stop calling it an anime. It's not an anime, it was not made in Japan. Sigh, do I even bother giving it a watch? So far, all I've seen is just how they mangled up the whole main character trope that Richter is supposed to have, and downplaying everything he does with Annette and Maria, saying something rude and snarky to humble him. Well, Sigh, you hit the nail on the head. There's literally no reason for you to watch this garbage show. You already know everything that's going on. I mean, you just described the television show to a T. Television, Netflix, streaming. Point is, you described it to a T. One enthusiastic user saw an opportunity to promote an alternative vampire media, urging fans to check out Vampire Hunter D instead. Yo, if anybody out there wants to watch some cool vampire hunting action that doesn't treat its own fan base like pond scum, might I recommend to you Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. And I've not seen Vampire Hunter D. I think I've read a lot of good vampire manga. I've seen some seen some good vampire anime. Again, I was talking about JoJo earlier. I'm one of the apologists for part 1 of JoJo. I adore Phantom Blood. I think it's actually one of the best parts. I know a lot of people hate it, is what it is. The point is, yeah, there's a lot of good vampire anime and manga out there. You don't need to be wasting your time on this fake anime. Castlevania Nocturne has unfortunately found itself in the middle of the online culture war. Some users were concerned about the pro-justice messaging in the series, despite the season taking place during the French Revolution, where it could thematically be appropriate. It doesn't matter if it takes place in the same time period where it could thematically be appropriate. It takes away from the core message of what Castlevania is, which is dudes with muscles killing vampires. Like let's be real. Yes, like I said earlier, there's some Shakespearean level dialogue in the games, and I'm all for that. But you don't need to muddy the waters by race swapping characters for an excuse to talk about slavery and civil rights. You're using basic modern day talking points that you would see all over Twitter, not X, because X is pretty base, but you would have seen all over Twitter a year and a half ago, using those sort of talking points just with the skin of Castlevania on it. So that's pretty much where we're at with this one. It's just crazy to me that a lot of people are giving this director a pass because, hey, he did the right thing. He sided with the fans. The fans were upset about, everything that's been done in this show and how Netflix was talking about it on X, and now he's taking our side. Man, what a great dude. How are you dumb? He's the director. He worked on this show. He's the one that made it. You can't go about giving this guy a pass. He clearly doesn't care about the source material. He doesn't care about the show. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the same dude that's going to be doing Devil May Cry. You telling me that you watched Castlevania Nocturne and you thought, oh yeah, I love seeing, again, nothing wrong with anti-slavery messages, by the way. So when I say this, just understand what I mean. I love seeing anti-slavery messages in my vampire hunting show. Oh, apparently a bunch of people complained that there weren't enough black vampires in Castlevania, despite the fact that it takes place in Romania. Let's just throw black vampires throughout every corner of Castlevania Nocturne. Guys, there's a time and a place. Now, if you'd had Castlevania and set it in, let's say it wasn't based off of any particular game. Let's say that you were just doing your own Castlevania side story thing, and you put it in, I don't know, Uganda. Okay, fair enough. Or Haiti. Yeah, I could see some black Haitian vampires. That could work. But in the French Revolution or in Romania, okay, at this point, you're literally just fishing for tokenism, and people are cheering this dude because he took the side of the fans. It's absolutely baffling to me. Is it really so hard to just respect the source material, respect the things that fans want, that they pay money for? Apparently, it is truly that difficult. So all I'm saying is, if you guys saw this director, you saw his post, or you've seen the news articles saying, hey, he takes the fan side, just think critically for a little bit and realize he's the one that made this show as bad as it is. He's just now worried about all the hate that he's gonna get because Netflix is actually calling attention to it, and there's a pretty ravenous fan base about to be at his throat and in his DMs on Twitter, which I do not advise, by the way, for very obvious reasons. But if you do want to take a chance and watch the show, then by all means be my guest, but don't say your boy Leon didn't warn you. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, usually just breaking news, but I wanted to cover some old stuff because you know what, Dread Roberts was right. Again, give him a subscription, give him a subscribe if you can, and by all means subscribe to me as well. But yeah, the more people talking about it, the better, because that is how we do affect change going forward in all nerd media, keeping the left, the right, politics out of it. Just give us good nerdy adaptations like we got with One Piece. Speaking of One Piece, if you were a fan, check out my One Piece review. I thought it was a pretty well done review, but those are just my thoughts. And also drop me a follow on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon. And until next time, it's all here in the nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.